everybody. This is Alan Peterson with Meet the Thriller Author, and I have on the line here Stacy Claflin. She is going to be talking to us today about her books and about writing thrillers, mysteries, suspense, all that good stuff. Stacy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very good, thank you. Let's get things kicked off right away, and let me just ask if you could please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm a full-time writer, and I write in different genres. Suspense is one of them. It's one of my favorite genres to read and write.
Is that the Gone trilogy that I saw on your page? Is that one of those? Is that a suspense?
Yeah, that's strictly suspense. Yeah, everything else I write, always suspense seems to come into it, but this one that's the focus.
Oh, and why did you choose to write that type of in that genre? Do you enjoy reading that, or what drew you to it?
Yeah, I've always loved reading suspense and thrillers. I grew up reading, Stephen King, John Grisham, just anything like that. I was a bookworm. I'd pick up anything and I would just read that stuff.
Some of those writers are the ones that have influenced you as you went from reader to writer?
Yeah, I love reading all kinds of genres, and right now I read a lot of indie authors more than the traditional authors, but it's just fun to get a wide variety.
What inspired you to write your first book?
I have always written ever since I could write out a full sentence. I've been filling spiral bound notebooks with stories when I was a kid, and then when we got a computer when I was a little older, I started typing them up on discs and everything. And then when Kindle hit, I was really excited because I'd never had any interest in traditional publishing with agents and all of that, but just the whole idea that I could write something, get it edited and fixed, of course, and then out to the readers was just exciting, and I couldn't wait to start writing.
Well, that's exciting. So you never went through the traditional route. You just went straight putting your stories out directly to the readers.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I did the same thing too. I never sent a query letter.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, it is. So now, where do you get your ideas for your books? Do you base out of anything in your real life, or where do you get your ideas from?
Well, I've always just had a wild imagination. I used to tell my friends these crazy stories and try to get them to believe that they were true. And just writing stories kind of helps to focus that part of my imagination.
And do any of your experiences make it into your books, or do you try to keep those two worlds separate?
I try to keep it separate, but it always kind of seeps in, various things I've been through. Like sometimes a scene or a conversation, something minimal, but I haven't actually written an entire novel about anything that I've experienced.
Family and friends haven't found themselves in your books. They haven't read it and said, "Hey, this is what's going on here."
No, not yet. I've hidden everybody pretty well.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
And now, when you start to write your books, what are some of the challenges that you come across when you're just getting started and you're staring at that blank page?
Well, one of the things with the Gone series was it was my first contemporary novel, because before that I was writing paranormal. And so I was strictly in this world, and not only that, but I was writing about a kidnapped teenager. And I've never been kidnapped, and, it's one thing to imagine it, but just trying to get everything realistic. So I looked up things on people who had been kidnapped, like Elizabeth Smart. I read her book that she wrote about her experience, and it helped me to get a good feel of what she went through, and just some of the little things that I would have never thought of, like watching a bug crawl across the floor, that type of thing.
Was it hard to you're writing and you're doing that research, and then kind of going back to your life? Is it in your head, or do you kind of are able to shut that off?
Usually, but this one, Gone, did get to me. I had to stop for a while. I think I took off about a month where I just wrote vampires, and then I kind of came back when I was able to write about kidnapping again.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a tough subject, I would imagine.
Yeah, it really was.
So now, when you're writing, where do you usually write? You said you're a full time writer.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I get up early in the morning when the house is quiet and I just get on the couch with my laptop and I just start writing. It's perfect for me because there's no distractions and once my kids get up, then it's hard to write with all those distractions.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So do you write every day? Do you try to get into that mindset of writing every day?
I take Saturdays off.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I sleep in on Saturdays, but every other day I aim for 3,000 words to write.
Oh wow, that's pretty impressive, especially with every day being busy with the kids and all that. That's pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
I don't always hit it, but I try.
Yeah, that's a good goal. That's a lofty goal.
Yeah, it's a good one. I mean, it helps me to publish usually about a book a month.
Oh wow, that's great schedule. So how many books do you have out right now?
Yeah,
Across.
that's a good question. I think I have, gosh, easily over a dozen novels. And then I've also got short stories and some novellas.
And so you say you write across different genres. Do you find it hard to like go from like a suspense or a thriller to like vampires, or is it? It must be nice maybe to switch it up, huh?
It is nice. I like being able to go from one mindset to another, though it sometimes it can be a little jarring to go from writing vampires one day to romance the next.
And do you use pen names for the different genres, or is it just under your name?
It's all under my name right now. I might try some pen names later, but for now it's all just under my name.
And so now, why don't you describe? You said that the Gone was about kidnapping. Could you just tell us just a little bit about your that series, and are they standalones, or is it a serial, or just a little bit about that series and what it's all about?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's a trilogy. I've got them separated into three books, and then you can also purchase it as the whole compilation. And then I've got a standalone, which is a side story from a side character. But
Okay, so he's like spun out a character from the original trilogy into their own story.
yeah, the readers have been asking for more, and I have a lot of interesting side characters, so I've decided to do at least three of them. They'll get their own novels.
Oh wow, that's great. So do you enjoy interacting with your readers and they reach out to you and
Yeah, I really love it. I've got great readers, and I love the feedback. I love getting emails when my vampire series has a lot of cliffhangers, and so sometimes after I release the book, they'll say, "Ah, the ending. When's the next one?"
oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Where do they usually reach you? Are you on Facebook or email or is it a little bit of everything?
A little bit of everything. I've got a contact form on my website. I've also got a book group on Facebook. It's kind of like the pages, but it's a little more interactive with the private group.
Oh, okay, so it's just you and your readers, the people enjoy your books.
Uh-huh. Yeah, at the end of my books, I give the link and invite them to join if they want to.
Oh, that's should be lots of fun.
Yeah, it is. And you get more reach than the pages, too, when you post something.
You probably have a lot of works in progress going, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Well, can you tell us just a little bit of what you're working on right now? Or a couple that you're working on right now? Just a little sneak peek.
Sure. Well, one of them, I'm working on putting all my short stories into a compilation. And so I'm writing some different short stories from each of my series worlds. And so I've been asking my readers, okay, who do you want to hear from? And so one of the projects I'm working on is a short story from the Gone series. It's a couple of the kids that were in it that were point of view characters that the readers had questions like, what happened to them after that?
Oh, wow. So, yeah, so you were like taking really giving the readers what they want, like for real.
Uh-huh, yeah. Yeah, sometimes, like last summer, I was kind of at a standstill. I didn't know what to write next, so I just asked my mailing list what they wanted, and it was pretty obvious what they wanted next, so I basically let them pick the next book that I wrote.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So, and now, do you still find yourself time to read, or is it getting harder to do now?
I have to schedule it. As much as I love reading, when I go to bed, I'm just wiped out because I get up at 4 to write. But as long as I write it down on my day planner, then I can usually sit down and at least read a couple chapters a day.
Oh, okay, so that's pretty good still, huh?
Yeah.
And any other writers that you've enjoyed recently that you would might recommend, that is kind of like a thriller or suspense bent to them?
One of my favorites has been The Collective Inkwell. If you're familiar with the self-publishing podcast, David Wright and Sean Platt, it might be more along the lines of horror.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some really good stuff that I really like.
Yeah, I do remember they had like a real long, like a episodic thing where they're publishing a whole bunch of stories.
Yeah, the Yesterday's Gone. I think
That's
they're
the one, yeah.
getting ready to publish the last one.
Oh wow, I kind of lost track the last year or so that's still going on, huh?
Yeah, I think it's the 6th season.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is very impressive. What about now when you're getting ready to put your ideas into a writing? Do you like get yourself into a rhythm where you could write something really quick, or do you find that you have to stop and then maybe write another story at the same time, or do you do one at a time?
It depends. Sometimes I'll just blow right through one novel and then go to another, and other times I need a break, and so I'll stop about halfway through and do something else and come back to it. I'm really flexible. I feel like, I may as well just enjoy what I'm doing, and I don't have a schedule that I have to follow. So that's basically the way I look at it.
And your covers are very nice. So do you hire those out, or do you do those yourself?
I've done most of them myself using the do-it-yourself book covers that Derek Murphy put together. It's basically templates.
Wow.
It's pretty easy. You find the pictures and the fonts, and it takes some playing around, getting used to, but I've been really happy with it.
Yeah, no, I'm very impressed that you did those, huh?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, even when I followed templates before, they always end up being terrible. So.
Yeah, it did take some practice.
Wow. Okay. So now, is there anything else that you would like to share with the listeners, yourself or your books, and
just to say, if you have a dream of writing, then just follow it, because there's so many things that can come up and intimidate you, but just push through it, and if you really want it, just make it happen.
Have you had any of your readers become writers afterwards?
I've made some friends that have read books, and then they'll tell me that they're working on something or they want to, and it's been a great way to help other writers too, to just be able to offer them insights and point them in directions.
And now with the You're Gone series, you said it was a trilogy, so is that trilogy complete now?
Yeah, the main part of the book of the trilogy, they're all complete, and so now I'm working on the side stories.
Where can your readers find you online?
I'm at stacyclaflin.com, and then all my social media and everything else is on there.
Okay, so like your website and your Twitter, and I'll have links to that on the podcast pages for the listeners so they can find you easily.
Okay.
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Meet the Thriller Author. You can visit our site at get.thrillingreads.com/podcast for more information on our podcasts. And you can also subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcatcher, like iTunes, the most popular one, of course. Just search for Meet the Thriller Author and you'll find me there. And I'm also on Facebook at facebook.com/Meet Thriller Author. Love to hear from you. Love to hear your comments and your feedbacks on the shows. And I'll have a new podcast, new interview with a thriller author. I'll be posting them every Tuesday, so stay tuned for that. And don't forget to subscribe. And please visit my author website at alanpeterson.com.